How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. So good to see you. Is it okay? Do I need to move back, move forward? How's this?
I think I think you're good. Let me just set up my
And
okay.
also, can you
All
let me
right.
know about let me know about the connection wise, like, whether it's like my voice is breaking or do you have
No, it's
slow? I
good.
do see the internet is fine.
It looks
Okay.
good. I can see you clearly and I can hear you well also. What
Okay.
about the other? Everyone
Okay.
else is okay?
I
Generally
can see
everyone will let you know
people.
if we can't.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, I
Okay.
I know. I
So
mean, the only reason because I'm in the basement. I mean, this is the only quiet place in the house right now.
you're saying that in Baltimore. Imagine us
The
like,
dogs and the
we have
kids
a
have
lot of
taken over
noise
the
all the
whole
time.
house. Yes.
Yeah, and also like a lot of stuff on the street. Like people are selling things on the street and everything, so there's a lot of noise here in general.
I
So
actually like that.
let's,
I miss it so much that I actually like it. So
I love it too. It's so convenient. The only
yeah.
time I don't like it is when I go live and there's something happening outside.
Yes.
So
So how have you been?
I've been good. So
Okay.
while we're waiting, I thought I'll introduce you and the app so that
Yes.
people can kind of get to know, like our followers can get to know you
Yes.
and vice versa. So first, I'll start with you. So Savitha Enner is a 500-hour trained teacher from Baltimore. She was born and brought up in India, and she now lives in Baltimore. She's been there for a long time, and we know each other because we have trained under the same teacher, Kim and Trady. And although we didn't do our courses at the same time, we were connected because of our teacher. And interestingly, I think Savitha was like, I think you were traveling to India and you wanted to
Find a
find
teacher.
find a teacher here that you wanted to study with. That's how we got connected. And then we had such a strong connection. We just chatted on the phone for I think half an hour or something, and we said let's do some projects together because we connected so well
Well,
or so deep. And then we co-led a retreat in Karnataka. We did a 15-day cultural retreat, and that was super fun. And I think we became sisters on that trip.
yes.
Hello,
when you
everyone who's
when you
joining.
get like 4 hours of sleep and then like on constant move, I think it
Yeah,
tends to be you tend to become sisters.
yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. It was so much fun. So, in addition to that, Savitha does so many things. I had to kind of think about what do I want to highlight in this live session because she dances. She learns Odissi dance. She performs also. She's an amazing home cook and she hosts supper clubs at home. She teaches cooking lessons at home and so many different food related things you do. It's always interesting to watch your stories and to see all your posts and videos. Hello. And you also teach yoga, of course, that's one of the primary things. And in your yoga classes, I know you do a fair bit of singing and chanting, and I know that your students love it. I've heard your voice and I know it's beautiful. So I thought we'll just, kind of talk about all of this and also just how we're dealing with the current situation. I also want to
Okay.
introduce the app very quickly. So
Yes.
I'm Savitha Enner. I am one of the teachers on the EKA Meditation app. And our app specializes in meditation practices that come from the yogic tradition. And we have sections for pranayam, for yog nidra, kaya sthairya, antarmaun, and all of the traditional meditation practices. So so that's the introduction. Do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I just want to tell you that Sudipta is pretty amazing. So I have you are like in the sense like one of the most grounded and humble people I actually know. And very true. Like you're so opposite of my nature. Like I'm so flighty and I'm so airy, and then you're like, you're so like rooted. And like, I'm like, that's how I land up doing so many things, because I'm like, oh, that seems interesting. Let's try that. Like, and there's always something else interesting, and then I try that, and then I surround myself with too many interesting things. But then you are like so grounded, and like your practices. I mean, I had the opportunity to follow lots of practices on the app, and I have to say that the practices in there are so true to what you are. Like they're so like they come across as very humble, very kind, very compassionate. Even though like irrespective of what the practice is, like I think like we all look for that. We all look for like a compassionate, kind person to lead us through the practice. And I felt that apart from the expertise, which is definitely there, the second layer of what makes it so interesting and special is that you bring that into your voice.
Thank you. That's so sweet.
I do feel it, so I'm just like
I'm feeling
experienced it.
all. I'm blushing. Thank
So
you.
there you go.
So,
Okay.
so let's get started.
Yes.
We have a few people who have already joined. So I guess like it's morning for you now there. So how's your day so far been today?
Today's been great. What did I do? Like, I mean, as usual, we are not in any hurry to wake up. The kids have started online schooling now. Like, it's
Okay.
been, this is their second week. Like the older one, this is his second week, and the younger one, this is his first week. We have usually a very late start. The only rule is that the kids have to get up by 9:30 and then be on the table if they want breakfast. Like,
Okay.
wash, take shower, and then come down. Like, usually it's like 6 or 5:30 in the morning, but now we have like moved it to 9:30 because we just didn't want them to sleep. We just didn't want them to sleep like,
So how
through
does the
noon.
online schooling work at this time?
So
Sorry.
they don't have like a full day schooling at all. It is just like a very little bit in the sense like Arnav, like my older one who is in eighth grade, he gets two classes every day. They are about like anywhere between 40 to 45 minutes, depending on the teacher. Sometimes they stretch into 1 hour. And that's it. He has a morning one session,
Okay.
and then so weekly one subject they do. That's it. Like so, he has 8 subjects, so it's like 4 times 4 days, 8 subjects. On Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they don't have any, and they get a lot of homework.
Okay.
That's what I have been seeing that
Okay.
he's been doing quite a bit of work than he you normally use. I think he's like he would do them at school, like a lot of work at school. So we never would see him doing. I mean, he will do some projects, but mostly he's quick. So he usually would do at school. But now actually we see him doing some work at night because he has a submission
Oh,
deadline which needs to be submitted. Like like
okay.
that 12 p.m 12 a.m like before that he needs to submit it, so to get graded,
Oh,
so
okay.
he's doing
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And how
uh,
about your classes? Everything has shifted online also?
yes,
Your
all of
classes?
them, all of them, all of them. I mean, I do teach it through two studios, Yoga Works and another local studio which is Yoga Revelation. So one of the Yoga Revelations I teach, like they're my regular times, and I just teach them online instead of the studio has a Zoom account. They give the password and the for people to get admitted, and then we teach. Apart from that, I teach my own classes, which
Okay.
I've been teaching in the community for a long, long time. It's been a lot of fun. We
Okay.
have so much fun. Initially, it was like I don't know what I'm going to teach, but now it feels
Yeah.
like it is so much more personal. And so I'm trying to keep the sequences very steady in the sense like I've been teaching the same sequence for the last 1 month with a variation about say 25%. We were working on Bakasana this
Okay.
last month. So that means the students know the anatomy of what they're doing, like open the backs of their shoulders, strength core, and then like, adductors. So I'm trying to like build the class 15, 20 minutes of the class in that way. And then students know that, okay, whatever poses we're doing, we're trying to build. So I don't have to demo all the poses. I actually sit very close to the computer and then I just
Okay.
talk quite a bit. I think like I practice about 20,
Okay.
25% and demoing, and then like 75% of the class, I just watch them, give them a lot of adjustments because we are trying to limit like about 12 students in a class, like, So I can see them
So you
on
can
my
see them
computer
all at the same time.
on the computer screen, and then I can actually, the screen itself can be big enough that I can actually pinpoint if they're doing, what they're reading, the shoulders or the arms or legs.
Yeah.
So we're trying to do that. Yeah.
Very nice. And are you, I know that before you used to do a fair number of vinyasa classes, also gentle and restorative classes.
Yeah.
How has this situation changed that for you? Like, are the classes now more active, or are they more slow, or like what have the students asked? And also, like, I want to know a few things about that. So first of all, like, have you changed the content of your classes, or like, you know, have you changed some restoratives to vinyasa, or have you done the opposite, or what is it?
Right now, most of my classes are all vinyasa, but then I do all my classes are vinyasa. But I do have one class which is like a restorer and like vinyasa and a restorative class. Like a Tuesday evening is like we do a vigorous vinyasa practice, and then it's about 20-25 minutes of restorative. That's always been on the schedule, and that's what I do. Apart from that, I'm doing a lot of I do twice a week. I do pranayama and meditation on Facebook Live. I think that's been very yeah, that's been very, people have been responding to it a lot because it's like, I'm calling it like a lunch break session because I go at 12 p.m. my time. I try to do it 15 minutes, but then people said like 15 minutes felt like they were sitting and then it was over. So now I've extended to like 30 minutes because 15 minutes felt like, it didn't feel like anything. They were like, we were just getting situated and we were just sitting, and then it was already like, it was time to leave. So then I'm now extended to 30 minutes, which I've been enjoying quite a bit. Yeah. So yeah, it's been students.
So there's demand for both, you're saying, like equal amount of vinyasa and
yeah. So it's been like, because here we are not restricted to home. We are quite like, we are like, if you're an apartment, then you're restricted to home. But not even then, you could still go out and say you could drive out to somewhere like to a park. Lots of like children areas are all taped out, so you can be in large groups, but then there's so much space here. So we've been walking, like everybody's been running. So people do like restorative, like a little bit of, and then people have been gardening like crazy, like,
I have gardening a lot.
Everything on Home Depot is sold. Everything on Home Depot is sold out.
I see your plants are coming up really well. So
I do. Like
you'll be cooking
I
with
know.
Your own, homegrown vegetables and herbs and everything. Yeah.
I'm like, I'm excited about that too. So the practice itself, from the student's point of view, it's been a combination of just appreciation of just being in a room together. Like, even though we are in the same rooms, but on a Zoom screen, it says that 12 people, 13 people are practicing together. I think that's just like, we have very small, I give like space for small conversation in the beginning, and then like I demo like whatever peak poses we are doing. So then I like unmute everybody. So like if there is a question to be asked, so we try to connect like that. I think that's been a huge, I think like we are craving, like, we're craving for that connection. And I think it's a very good space for connection.
Yeah, here it's like, of course, like total lockdown. So
I know.
Like my classes, like everyone is asking for movement because that's the only movement they're getting. Otherwise, they're at home. And like if I have to walk, I just have to go up and down the apartment staircase.
Stairs?
I don't have any other option because walking on the streets is not allowed.
Yes.
So it's quite restricted.
Yeah, but I think you can open the balcony door and get some good air now.
Talk about your food. Oh, yeah. The air, that's what it's like, such an irony, right? The air is so clean now, but we can't go out to breathe it. So next thing I want to talk about is actually your food. I know you do a lot of interesting fusion type of things, and you also do a lot of traditional Indian cooking. I wanted to know some of your popular recipes. Like what are the things that are really enjoyed by everyone? Like what's some give me a couple of traditional things that people enjoy, and also a couple of fusion things that you have invented.
Okay. Usually very popular, like even if you go to any Indian restaurants here, like what I have understood is that you have to, our palates are so used to certain kind of flavors, and when you shock them with something, we don't like it very much. You have to like ease the palate into it. Like, I
Yeah.
still remembering having ketchup on pizza when I was in India. So, like, like it is what it is, right? So like, why is that? Like now I cannot even dream about it. Now I don't even like my pizza saucy. Like I like it like with barely any sauce and like really good pizza. But like, you just get introduced to that, like, into
Yeah.
the, so very popular are usually like any kinds of breads like naan and puris or like dosa, like anything which is like a breadish kind of things. Idlis are not popular, like they feel that it's very bland. Idlis
Yeah.
have not been very popular, but dosas and like, naan and kulcha or like, all like ragi roti, chapati, jolad roti, all that are very popular. And
Yeah,
people
and
are
you
amazed.
roll out jolad roti like a pro. Like I've seen you, like, I think one of the days you'd put it on your stories. It was just amazing to watch you,
I'm used to
spit it out
doing
so
it, like,
quickly. I was, wow.
I'm so used to it, and
Four of
people
you, I
really
can
like
imagine.
them.
Yeah.
Like people like it a lot. Like, it's just also because it's gluten free. So all that alternative, like I've been trying to introduce like real Karnataka cuisine, like, into like fusion. So I'll make like, I'll use their tortilla, like jolad roti or the ragi roti as the tortilla or the taco wrap. And then we'll
Mm-hmm.
make like, and then Indian spices. And I mean, I'm a vegetarian. So then I'll make like, grilled cauliflower or like asparagus and like, with some coleslaw, but then like a kosamri coleslaw, like with coconut and carrots and everything as a filling for the tacos. So it's basically jolad roti with some palya
That's so
and
interesting.
kosamri topped on top, but then it's very juicy. And then if you have a little bit of coconut chutney or tomato chutney, like a salsa, like, tomato chutney is basically a salsa. So
Yeah.
then I'll make like tomato
It's like an Indian
chutney.
taco.
It is an Indian taco, so people love that, like, all that stuff. And then I make again lots of different types of kosambris. I serve them as lettuce wraps. Those are very very popular. Like, I put a
Okay.
crunch of like peanuts or nuts to give that a little crunch, and like, our good old save for like, some crunchiness. And then
Yeah.
that's very popular. Tikka masala. People can never
Okay.
get more of tikka masala. That's the most popular. I probably make like, all my cooking classes, all my like supper clubs. There is something which has tikka masala in it.
Do you also give some to take back home, or you
I
just
do.
make?
Like whenever, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Like, I jar them and then I usually pre-make them. They're usually vegan. So tikka masala is like has a lot of like cream in it. I do coconut milk or cashew milk. Um, so
Oh,
they
okay.
can take, yeah, so they can like, I usually try to make it vegan. We have a lot of vegan, I have a lot of vegan people who come to my cooking class. So I just try to keep it neutral. Then they do.
Okay.
And then I ask them, I call them or they text them, oh, did you make like tikka masala? They're like, no, they were just so good. I just like ate it with a spoon in it. So
Nice. So, apart from doing these videos and all that, how else do you connect with your food family? Because now you can't host your class or supper
no,
class.
yeah, I've been like doing a little bit of like host, like I've done cooking, like a live cooking class on Facebook. I've been thinking about doing it on Cook Like a Yogi too, which is our other
Oh,
Instagram handle. I've been thinking
yeah.
about it. So, yeah, we've been thinking about it. We have a lot of requests for like, chutneys. Like, that's most popular things to right now. People miss the condiments. People miss the like,
Okay.
the like the chatpata something. So I've been thinking about that. Like, I
Yeah.
do and email newsletters, like people are still emailing, like, questions, texting questions. And I send out some information out there for them to be like, if you have anything cooking something, because we're all cooking so much. So
Yeah,
I get a lot of,
yeah, that's right. We are cooking so much now, and it's nice to have different ideas and
yeah.
yeah,
So people text me all the time, like, is there like a healthy alternative to it? Like, I don't have rice to make dosa. What else can I make it with? So I get a lot of texts. It's very personal now. I think
yeah,
and it's just a lot of one-on-one, and I do have time to answer all those questions. So I kind of welcome them now.
yeah. It works out well for everybody.
Yes.
So, the other thing I wanted to ask you is, are there a lot of people who are also doing stillness practices? I
Yeah.
know you're doing the pranayama and meditation, classes, but how many people do you see in this? Like, I know you said, you have a lot more freedom to move around. You can still go for walks and all that. So I'm assuming like you have a lot more people who want to do stillness practices as well. Is that
There are,
right?
but then like I mean, the thing about it is like they're not as popular as just in terms of like, yeah, I mean, it's just in terms of like people are always amazed when they come to my class and they get like, I always like classes are always, I finish them off with a little bit of meditation. Even if it's a minute or two, whatever it is, depending on the classes I'm teaching, I always do meditation and people really, really like it. But again, it's not a part of their practice. So it is taking, like yoga has become popular, but then meditation isn't as popular as like a movement practice yet. Here amongst the community, at least in which I teach, there are lots of people who are still practicing that. I do get questions asked about like, do I take, like, I have a lot of personal, like one-on-one private people for pranayama and meditation because pranayama is such a subtle practice. It takes a little bit more finesse and it takes a little bit of more instruction as to how to do it. So I do have a lot of privates who do pranayama practice with me. It's like 30 minutes of pranayama and meditation practice with me.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's still, I would say, like, at least the people I know, it's still like movement is more popular than still practice.
Okay. Okay.
I think it's just an evolution.
Okay. Sorry?
I think it's an evolution of yoga. We are still at the evolution
of changing depending on what you want at that phase of your life, right?
Yeah.
So now I want to come to like the main part, which is sound meditation. Of course, all of us have experienced, the heavy thunderstorm or downpour, and the sound of rain falling on leaves or on the roof, or wherever you are. If it's a really strong wind, or that sound kind of takes over and just enchants you almost. You are not distracted by anything else. You just kind of are tuned into that sound. Similarly with a chanting practice or any kind of singing practice, hymns, and so many traditions are there which deal with sound meditation, even like the singing bowl, or we have so many of them. And I know that you do a fair bit of chanting and singing in your classes. So I thought it would be fun to explore that a little bit. And I thought what we could do is, I know we haven't really discussed this, but I thought what we could do is maybe like I can do the chant and then give the meaning of the chant, and then you can sing it, and then we can kind of follow along. Everyone can follow along in their houses, So first
that sounds amazing.
Chant and give the meaning, and then you can
hope I know the chant to sing. Yes, hope I know them, like the one you're
I'm sure you know them.
But I'm just saying, like, and also people who are watching.
If you don't know them, then we'll just like skip to the next
skip
one.
It. Okay, people who are like watching us, and please be kind. I am not a singer. I have no training. I have zero training. I'm the last of 3 children, so my parents really did not I was.
That doesn't matter at all, because your singing is so popular in the classes that I've attended.
I always feel like, I feel like people are just kind. People are just, I have very kind students. That's all. Okay. Like, I'm not a very good singer. I just have very, very kind best students in the world.
Right now.
Yes. That's all.
Okay, let's get started. So let's sit comfortably. You can sit cross-legged on the floor, or you can sit in a chair with your feet flat on the ground. Just take a few breaths to settle in. Notice how you feel at this time of the day. Start with the Asatoma chant. Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Lead me from darkness to light, ignorance to knowledge, from mortality to freedom. May there be peace in all 3 realms. Savi. So you can sing it.
Thank you. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritangamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you.
The next chant for the peace, health, and well-being of all. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Can I sing the other Shanti mantra?
Yes.
Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Om Sarvesham shantir bhavatu. Sarvesham purnam bhavatu. Sarvesham mangalam bhavatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. This is my favorite one. It talks about everybody feeling quietness, peace. The favorite piece of this for me is Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, that we are also complete within ourselves. And, you do not need, like, this is such a good time to remind that whatever we think like we need are not essential. Whatever you need is within yourself and you're complete by yourself. And then such a great time to explore that. This is the chant I've been singing pretty much in every class these days.
Your voice is so beautiful.
Oh my
so
God, thank you. Thank
Love
you.
it.
Thank
Love
you.
it. So do you know the one that that kind of ties into what you were saying about Purnam?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the
Purnamadha.
Purnamadaha one?
I can't
Yeah.
sing it very well, but I can chant it. I can't sing it very well.
I'm sure it'll be beautiful. Can you give it a
Let
try?
me look it up though. Like I have written it and then let me look it up. So I have,
Okay, sure.
because I don't want to, I don't want to, miss my.
It's one of my favorites. So I'll explain the meaning while
Yes,
you're looking
thank
it
you.
up. So I'll say the chant while Savi looks it up. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. So this one talks about how there is completeness in everything. So we are created from a completeness of universal consciousness, and although we have been created from it, we've come out of this consciousness. Each one is complete within itself. Together we are complete, separate we are complete. And the speciality is, even though you have removed something from completeness, both aspects still continue to remain complete in themselves. So it's about universal consciousness and divine consciousness, which is infinite, which is outside of us and within us, tying us all together.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I agree with this. Like, and I remember like I sang this, like, or chanted it once in a class, and then somebody asked me the meaning, and then I said like, oof, that's a lot. I said, yeah, this practice is supposed to blow your mind. It's not supposed to close your mind. Like, like you have to really like, think about it. And I have had like lots of people feel that's so true, but then we don't really think about it quite often. But we all feel that, like, whether you're in your darkest moment, whether you're in your joyous moment, you always feel that. But it's just that we are consciously not connecting to it. But then when you do, I think it's a pretty amazing. Okay, I'm going to really try. Again, as I said, I don't chant this very often.
Go for it.
But I'll try. Purnamadha Purnamidam Purnartha Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
That was lovely.
Thank you.
So what are the other chants that you do in your classes other than
I do like sometimes, like, fairly new to me. Like the ones I chant are the ones we've been singing, like, Asatoma, opening chants, and like, sometimes I do just the bija mantra. Sometimes I do like, sometimes I do like Soham, or, so many things which are pretty simple. Just like chanting 21 times, like Om Namah Shivaya or Shanti, like sometimes Gayatri Mantra. I try. Again, I am not professionally trained, so that's the reason I'm always like hesitant about the inappropriateness, or like, the time. And I try to learn about it, and this is all self-study. I don't have a teacher for this, so I try not to like. I try to be a little bit aware as to like not butcher it too much. So and then I have been enjoying these days, like kind of singing, like, Brahma Murari, and like, Nirvana Akshatam. Like I've been trying to like learn by myself and sing the whole song. And then I apologize to my students, like, this is not perfect. I've probably done a lot of things, and they all like laugh at me, like, yeah, as if we would know, like,
So, the beach mantras, can you do the chakra mantras? The lam vam ram. Can you do
not
that?
Not at the fly right now.
Not on the fly right now. Okay, all right. So
I think
like
a singing.
enjoy Nad yoga.
It is like, it is just like that, like, singing, like that thing, like it takes me a little bit of time to like, move into that mode. So it takes a little bit of time for that. Sorry about that.
So why don't you sing the songs that you've been trying to learn?
Oh my God, that will be like, I'm going to keep it simple. Like, I don't want to like,
whatever you want.
I'm not going to traumatize your students, like, for trying this.
One more song, whichever you want.
Okay, let's do Gayatri Mantra then. That's like, that's been my favorite. Do you want to go first?
Go for it.
Okay.
Oh, me? Om Bhurvuvasvaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat.
तत्सवितुर्यवेन्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्
This is lovely.
Thank you.
So I think we'll kind of stop there,
Yes.
and I'll ask, I mean, if anyone has any questions for Savitha or any comments, I'm just looking through to see if we have any questions. Just have one compliment for your voice.
Oh my God, thank you.
The recommendation that you should look up Nadi Yoga. So when you
Okay.
come to Bangalore next time, you can,
Yes, I always ask for
learn.
recommendations. So yes,
Yeah.
yes, I would love to. I
Nihal
would love
Nigam
that.
is like superb. She's really good. We should attend a class together when you're here next. She's
Yeah,
in
if
Bangalore.
he's teaching something, if she's teaching online, I would love to even take it now. So
Yeah, well, I don't think she's doing that yet, but if she
okay,
does and if I find out about it, I'll let you know. Anyone
thank you
has
so
any
much.
questions for Savitha?
I have a question for you.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so how is how in India, like, you have practiced in India and you have practiced, I mean, whenever you come back and visit us here, you've always practiced here. And what is the main difference do you see, like, as a teacher and as a student? Like the difference between like the studio practices here in US or any other part of country, you travel quite a bit, and in India.
Um, I feel that in the US, there's a lot of stress on variety.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, people are very consistent and they
Mm-hmm.
practice a lot. Like I see that they're very dedicated and they come a lot to class. And even the 5:30 class, there are people there. Not so much here, but it depends on the class, of course. But I feel that here there is more, like a set sequence that is preferred. Like, people don't crave as much variety. I
Mm.
think in the US, there's a lot of pressure on the teachers to be very creative with every class. Every class has to be totally different from the previous one. And that kind of, I don't know how good it is for beginners to learn like that. I think it's very hard when every class is so different. But here there's more of a gradual build up, and you go a little bit deeper
Mm-hmm.
into the poses or deeper into that section,
Mm-hmm.
like backbends.
Mm-hmm.
You learn from scratch and you keep developing. And here also the other thing is people stick with a teacher for a long period of time,
Yes.
and they try to learn as much as they can from that teacher before moving on to the next teacher.
Yeah.
I think, at least from what I've seen in the US, people go to a lot of teachers and learn a lot of things from different
Mm-hmm.
people and try to absorb
Yeah.
and develop their own practice.
Yeah.
Maybe they put it all together in their home practice, but they
Mm-hmm.
try to go to as many teachers as they can. Most of the time, I've seen that in studios.
Yeah.
But of course, there are some studios which have just 2 or 3 teachers, and there, of course, it's totally different. They
Yeah.
stay with the same teacher. Or if it's like an Ashtanga studio in the US, it's still like, they'll go to the same teacher and learn. So
Yeah.
I think it's a combination of things, but I think there's more variety, there's more stress on variety um, over there compared to here. And yeah, that's the main difference.
That's the main difference. Okay.
That's the main difference. But otherwise, I think, uh, the teachers in the US that I've studied with are very particular about anatomy and physiology, and a lot more science oriented. And here we go by faith a lot more than there.
Faith.
Just
Okay.
do it whatever,
The
like
teacher
whatever the
says.
teacher
Yeah.
intuitively knows, or whatever they
Yeah.
have learned, they'll teach. They don't necessarily explain the science behind all of the things.
Yeah.
And so it's just a different way of teaching. It doesn't mean that they don't know it. It's just that they don't
It is just like,
emphasize
also it's a very Guru Brahma kind of mentality. So
yeah,
you just
yeah,
you just assume that if you're a teacher, then you would know quite a bit to guide me. So it's like
yeah.
yeah. Like I just
Lot
wanted to because I always when I've been like every time when I come to India, then I take more classes. I think like I've been teaching for some years, but I still fairly consider myself to be a new teacher. And I try to feel and notice what's best and teach that. And I've been noticing too, like, consistent, slow, same practice is more beneficial to, anybody. Like, people who have been coming
yeah,
for me to a long time. If I keep it consistent, they're able to, even if it's just a pose, even if it's the same meditation and same pranayama practice, instead of like teaching them pranayama practices, different one, I teach the same thing for a long time. And then the next time when I introduce them to the next pranayama practice, I've noticed that they're able to grasp that, because now their mind has
yeah,
settled down into taking the patience to learn.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I've been like, I always like, I've been, for me, like when I enter the studio and I come to India, it's like, it's just like, ooh, it's different. Like, it takes me a little bit of time to like, just even adjust myself to where I am.
Yeah.
Like it just the whole atmosphere, like, it's just like, I mean, I almost feel like in India, the studios are like a place of, I don't know, worship or whatever you want to call it. Almost feels like that when you enter for me. So I'm not trying to like romanticize it, but I do feel like,
More like a shala setting than a
yes,
studio setting.
yes, it's a school setting. It feels like a school, like you're going to school, and there is like this approach of like, yeah, school, rather than like here when I go, it feels like I'm going to a place of wellness.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, I do miss the chants when I come there, because here we
yes,
generally start and end with chanting, and that's something that I
yes,
do miss when I
yes.
go as well. But there are teachers who teach it like you.
Yes. And I'm
Yeah,
also been like, I've been really enjoying, people who are still here, I've been really, really enjoying the EKA meditation chants, and like, it's very, like the voices are very authentic. The guidance doesn't seem to have any frill attached to it. That's the one thing which I've been like really, really crave. Like that's the practice I'm used to in India too. Not a lot of frill attached to it, but it's like a straightforward practice.
yeah.
And I'm very happy to have found that.
Great. Thank you so much, Savi. And thank you
Absolutely.
for joining us for this
Yeah,
session.
we
It
should
was
do this
wonderful.
again.
Yeah, we'll definitely do it again. Yes.
Okay, we'll do it again. Take
All
care.
right.
Thank you for joining. Everybody who joined in, thank you for joining. And again,
Yeah,
if
thank
you're
everyone.
if you're here because you're Savitha's friend, then find me on Instagram and Facebook. And if you're here because my friend, please find Savitha and her lovely voice meditations and pranayama practice on EKA Meditation on their Instagram and also YouTube channel. Hope
Yes.
you guys enjoy.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Absolutely. Take care. Bye bye.